Hello everyone, welcome to today's Design for Planet Festival 2024. This is a Design Council event all focused on planet positive business. My name is Kyle Sue and I'm the Partnerships and Product Manager at B Lab UK, which is the home of the B Corp movement. If you don't know about B Corps, businesses pushing for change in the economic system. And there's linkages between that and what the Design Council are exploring today, with a particular focus on what is the role of design to change products, services, and systems. We're here today in Manchester to explore these questions. And what a place to be in. I'm born and bred in Bolton. I went to university here, and I'm proud to call this city my home. There is so much creativity and energy here today. And actually think about the history of Manchester and what it means in terms of its foundation with the Industrial Revolution through to changes in technology and social movements. There's a lot there to draw upon. Now, it would be remiss not to say that there are challenges that we're facing because of that explosion in terms of technology and social movements. We live in a world of crisis in terms of the effects facing both people and planet. And again, what is the role of design to try and transform and change and move forward? So that is what we're going to be exploring today across a packed agenda, loads of talks, how-tos, things like that. So I just want to formally welcome our audiences, both in person and online, to explore these questions together. Now, I want to welcome, first of all, to the stage, Minnie Mull, who is the Chief Executive of the Design Council, to tell us more and open up today's proceedings. Please welcome Minnie to the stage.
Thank you. Thank you, Carl. Good morning, everyone here, and good morning, everyone around the world. Huge and warm welcome. This is our fourth Design for Planet Festival, and very, very much intended to upskill, inspire, galvanise the design community to put planetary needs front and centre in their work. And with news today, maybe we even have to work harder than we were going to on that point. We've got 150 people in the room here in Manchester, including a baby called Lenny. So if you hear a baby, people, you're not imagining it, and it's wonderful to have him in the room with us. We're nearly 5,000 of you joining us from 109 countries around the world. Again, warm, warm welcome, and thank you so much for joining us wherever you are in the world. We've got 4 how-to sessions, 3 collaborative workshops, and a fantastic lineup of 29 speakers. We're broadcasting live from Manchester Met University, Manchester School of Art. Manchester, for anyone who doesn't know it, is an incredibly dynamic city, as Kyle mentioned. Just a few stats from our design economy research. 170,000 people working in design, 6,000 design businesses in the northwest of England, generating 8 billion gross value added. And it's one of the fastest growing design economies in the UK. It had 26% growth between 2017 and 2019. It's also recognised as a specific design cluster for digital, architecture and fashion. So institutions like Manchester Metropolitan University and the University of Salford are nurturing the next generation of designers that will bring their passion and energy to Design for Planet. So it is a brilliant place for us to be here today. The theme, Planet Positive Business, very much the belief that business can do well and do good. Indeed, it must do well and do good if we're to address the climate and nature crisis. So what exactly is the role of design? What can designers do to ensure that there's a seat for planet at the boardroom table? How are we going to accelerate the transition? How can businesses help drive the behaviour change that we need? And what's getting in the way? Certainly things that will come up today, it's a leadership issue, for sure. I think there'll be a lot about the need for collaboration and partnerships. And when the most sustainable choice that we can make is nearly always the one we've already got, whatever that is, then we really need to reframe how we think about new. And I think one of the things that may come out today is with innovation, we've got to stop being obsessed with new, and innovation needs to be about better, not new. And that better being loaded with a whole load of things that I think will come out today. All in all, it's a really complex discussion, I think, that we're going to be having today. But what is absolutely critical is that we have got to address it. I want to spend a moment with you joining us online. I want to really convince you to not look at your emails, cancel what you were going to do later, stay with us and invest the time today, because last year 95% of the people who joined us online said that they went away with new skills to be able to design for Planet. You will, without question, be hearing amazing things from our speakers. You will have actions that you can go away and take tomorrow. I bet you'll come away with some amazing case studies and stories that you can share. No doubt also some really killer questions to go and ask some people. And really importantly, again, I think in the context of today, this morning, recharging your batteries to go back with renewed vigour and hope for what design can do and design for Planet and how you can apply it in your work. That's all I really want to say. So what I'm going to do now is actually hand over to Martin. Martin is the director of the Metropolitan School of Art here at Manchester University, and he's going to tell you a little bit more about that. Martin, over to you.
So, Minnie, thank you, and thank you for the opportunity to host you all, to host you, the people in this room, but also the people online. And while I can speak to all of you in person in the room today, do come and visit us, and we're always happy to have that conversation. So I've just sent out 5,000 invites around the world to come and visit Manchester School of Art. It's an honour to host you. And I get one of those instances where I get these emails occasionally, and I think, that's an interesting one. That's a nice email to get. And probably in January this year, I got an email that said, "Dear Martin," and this was from Kat Drew, who is she's just cradling her baby, Lenny, at the back at the moment, and I think he's fallen asleep. And Kat said, "Martin, we know each other well." And she said, "Martin, would you be interested in hosting Design for Planet?" And as a designer, my answer to that always is, of course I would. And then I think, maybe I should check with some people. I might be the director of the School of Art, but maybe I should check. And I sent a text to the head of design, and Shelley McNulty's in the room, and I said, "Shelley, we've been invited to host Design for Planet. The answer is yes, isn't it?" And of course, the response I got from a designer was, "Of course it is." And then we spoke to all of our colleagues and an amazing team that have got us here today. So there are three things I wanted to talk about, really, about when I received that email. And it was about saying, why would we host it? Why would Manchester School of Art host Design for Planet? And why would we host it in this city? Manchester School of Art is 186 years old. I'm the custodian of it, and that will pass on. And Manchester School of Art will continue. It is one of the largest art schools in Britain, and the second oldest in Britain. And we have a creative community of about 7,500 students across the disciplines of art, architecture, design, fashion, digital media, and performance. It is a crazy melting pot. There are things going on that none of us know what's happening, and we absolutely embrace that on a daily basis. So why wouldn't we host it? But I'm going to take you back to that point in 1838. And it wasn't Manchester School of Art, it was Manchester School of Design. And it was set up alongside the Royal College of Art, who are 3 months older than us, not that I'm competitive. And we were set up as the northern, and they were set up as the southern schools of design. And that was to serve the industries of the Industrial Revolution, specifically in Manchester, the textile industry. And we hold that very dear to this day in terms of our relationship with industry and the city as well. So we'll hear from Andy Burnham in a moment, and Andy will tell us about the city. I've been at this city, I've lived here for 28 years. I came here and I studied in this university a master's in industrial design. And I'm still here. And that story can be heard around students who graduate and stay in this city. The stickiness of this city is very important. But Andy, no doubt, will talk about all of the amazing things that are going on. This city, and I literally look out the window and can see it, has changed so much in 28 years. And it is an amazing city. So why wouldn't we host this event? Why wouldn't the city want to say to you all, come to Manchester and be embraced? And of course we've done that. And we will continue to do that. And there are many people in this room who are key influencers of that agenda in this city. And I see faces in this room that I know who have visited us from around the country as well. I also see people in this room who studied here, who are alumni, and have gone on to do amazing things. So Manchester as a city is really important. And the relationship between this university and all of the universities in Manchester is really key to driving the future of this city. It's a wonderful city. My sidebar is there are other wonderful cities. You could decide where this one sits. So then we also think about the creative sector in this city. And we are here, and I would say the majority of these people in this room have some affinity to design. There will be other people who have affinity to other creative industries, perhaps architecture, perhaps digital media, filmmaking, fashion. The porosity of those disciplines is really important, and the city supports that. That interaction between those disciplines is key. Manchester is fortunate to have the second largest creative industry sector in Britain, and also one of the fastest growing sectors in the country. That is really important. We don't just sit here as designers. We have to stand here and sit here online as creatives. We face significant challenges, and we have to be creative to address them. So I'm going to come to the end of my talk, and I always think, what can you say at the end to embolden the people in the room? Well, I'm going to quote, or most likely misquote, a famous Mancunian, Anthony H. Wilson. Anthony H. Wilson was a broadcaster, but he was also a manager of bands. He was also a record label executive, and he set up Factory Records. Why would you not call a record label Factory in Manchester? And if you go back to what Kyle said about the Industrial Revolution, this is where factories came from. They were born here in this city. So, Anthony H. Wilson. Famous quote or misquote. Steve Coogan said this quote in a film about Anthony H. Wilson. Who knows if Anthony H. Wilson actually said it? And he said, "This is Manchester. We do things differently here." And I'm going to use that as a clarion call to you in this room and everybody online and say, we need to do things differently. We really need to think now about the challenge that our industry and consumption-driven culture has resulted in, the challenge for the planet. So I want you to think today and leave here online or in the room and say, I'm going to think differently. I'm going to think about my role in creating a better planet. But I'm not going to say you should design for planet. Not good enough. I'm sorry, that is just not good enough. You need to design better for planet. And if the one thing we have to do is to get better, and we need to get better collectively. So, as your host in this amazing university in Manchester School of Art, I wish you well. I'm going to enjoy the discussions today. I'm going to join in the discussions, and I'm going to hope at the end of the day we are in a slightly different place and we are designing better for planet. Thank you.
Thank you, Martin. Some people have just come in. Please do go on and take seats while I'm just doing the next handover. Absolutely delighted. He hasn't heard what a wonderful warm-up there's been, because we've been talking lots about how wonderful Manchester is. Really, really delighted to join us in perfect timing, Andy Burnham, the Mayor of Greater Manchester. Andy, thank you. And a quick, thanks so much for joining us. There's someone is about to take a photo. He is, just a quick photo.
Oh, a photo, sorry.
A quick photo. But you've had some great warm-up about Go Manchester.
I can hear. Martin, how do I follow
Go on.
Martin?
Yeah.
Am I on? Well, you've said it, Martin, but welcome everybody. We are a place that likes to lead the way. I was hearing talk of Anthony H. Wilson there. We definitely, we were certainly the leading party capital, 24-hour party people, the home of, and that was until the pandemic and 10 Downing Street took that crown off us. But I think we're back. You know, we've got Co-op Live open. We've got a big family reunion next year. I think we're fine on that front. But when I came in as mayor, I kind of set two other things in terms of where I wanted Greater Manchester to be: the UK's leading digital city region and the UK's leading green city region. Why did I do that? Well, simply, to me, I believe that digitalisation and decarbonisation are the two twin sort of forces that will shape the 21st century economy. And if you're a leader in either of them or both, preferably, you're then a global leader. And that's what we set out to be. And we have been the fastest growing digital and tech hub in Europe in recent times. I think we're kind of there or thereabouts on the digital city region. But when it comes to the green city region, I think you probably would have not necessarily thought of us as the greenest, and we haven't been, have we? Let's be honest about it. And particularly, let's say, in the period when we were kind of, reimagining Manchester, the late, great Sir Howard Bernstein, who we will remember next week at his memorial service, as he reimagined Manchester from the mid-90s onwards, I don't think we were in a position where we could always put the ambition at the heart of development. We just had to get development. And, that was a sort of a kind of necessity. We had to bring people here. I came back to this city from university in 1991 and stayed for months trying to find a job that I could do, and in the end gave up. And like many of the people of my generation, concluded that to get on in life, I had to go south. And that was true for many people growing up in the factory records era. That was our reality. But that isn't kind of where we are now. 20 years of bringing investment and bringing jobs to the city. The range of graduate jobs here now is huge. And the interesting thing for me, coming then in as mayor, building on everything that Sir Howard and Sir Richard Lees and others had achieved for Manchester, we were able to raise the bar at that point and set higher ambitions for the new era that we're now in. And that notion of a green city region, the UK's leading green city region, remains at the heart of our vision. Well, you will say how. So let me try and explain. There was a couple of questions I was asked to address. Let me just make sure I've got these. How the city region has reimagined its place through nature at the heart of urban life, which I think, as we were kind of hearing, is a major consideration for this conference. And then secondly, how the city region has designed new transport infrastructure to connect people, how the city region, and thirdly, has invested in green innovation to benefit both business and community. So let me kind of address all of that together, and let me take you to Stockport. You didn't think I was going to say that then, did you? You didn't think I was going to take you to Stockport to illustrate all of this. But if you have got the ability to do this, Google Stockport interchange photos of, and have a look at it, and you might begin to kind of see the change that we're beginning to bring through in Greater Manchester, because it embodies it. This is a brand new B-network interchange at the heart of Stockport, right underneath the famous railway viaduct. And this amazing new award-winning transport interchange has a brand new green space right in the heart of Stockport. And actually, if you go back, because of Stockport's geography, it's often been quite a low, it's had a sort of challenges with air pollution, with not had much green space. But we put that at the heart of it. And it was through a mayoral development corporation where we designed this, obviously with my responsibilities for transport, bringing all the things together, active travel infrastructure of a kind that is the highest level that we've got in Greater Manchester, linking this interchange with the railway station. And thousands of new low-carbon homes that we have built in the heart of Stockport. And the thing is, when you build something of real quality at the heart of a place where people want to be, a thing that lifts the sort of standard of the place, you raise the value of everything then around it, don't you? If you reimagine the place with something of true value at its heart, then the benefits ripple out. So 5 years on from the creation of the Mayoral Development Corporation, I was back in Stockport last week to announce the tripling in size of the Stockport Mayoral Development Corporation and also a new target for homes. And the interesting thing is, you bring a new demographic to live in a place like Stockport in the town centre, and then the benefit keeps flowing in terms of the rejuvenation of the high street. We've had all of these debates, haven't we, as a country about how do you revive flagging high streets. And with respect to it, I don't think Mary Porter's got anywhere close to coming up with the answer. The answer is to replace the redundant retail and with something of quality at the heart of these places, and then everything builds out from there. Well, let me take you to another example where we've done the same. Mayfield, not so far from here, where we used brownfield funding to create the first new public park in city centre Manchester for 100 years, right by Manchester Piccadilly. And again, if you go there, and I lived in that area a couple of summers ago, it has been green deprived, that area, no getting away from it. We've opened up the Medlock, we've taken the concrete cap off it. There's a new park being created there. And all of a sudden, the attractiveness of that as a place to invest has been completely turned around. So that's where we're going, and it is always linked to public transport infrastructure. Here's a big thing that you've got to do if you're going to design for planet. You've got to start building for public transport rather than building for the car. Let's be honest, this place has been building for the car for decades, and I inherited a plan that was very much focused on the outlying green areas. What we've come back with now is a new way of thinking. You get much quicker development if you go into the heart of places that people care about but they've seen go in decline. They're not going to resist planning applications for the heart of these towns that they're desperate to see turned round. There's been no objection to the Mayoral Development Corporation in Stockport. We've had big public support. And then you go with the grain and you build the homes more quickly because you're going with the grain. But you're building for the existing infrastructure. You're not having to build new roads to connect a green field to the area that you're developing. You're building right around the existing infrastructure that you want people to use, but it's better to be building for public transport than building for the car. So let me just say a bit more about the vision of the B network. That this is our model of a London-style public transport system. We like to claim everything's invented here, as you know, and as you just heard from Martin, and we do invent a lot of things here. But I'll be honest in saying this is the London model. We've not created this model. We're just trying to create the same in Greater Manchester, and we're on course to do it. So in January, we will complete the re-regulation of our bus system. And the really fascinating thing about retaking control of buses, something as everyday and basic as buses, as I've done, and the first mayor to do it outside of London, you then actually can dictate the pace of decarbonisation because you can specify what buses should be running on our streets. We're heading towards an all-electric bus system by the end of this decade. Our trams already run on renewable energy, but we're going to be soon completely a zero carbon, zero emission at street level, and that is a massive change for our city. So that process will be complete by January. The southern half of Greater Manchester will have re-regulated yellow buses. B network will be all over. In March, we're going to the payment system where people will just tap in, tap out, a daily cap over bus and tram. The bit I'm building to is what comes after that, because in the next phase, between now and 2028, we're going to bring in 8 rail lines into the B network, like TfL Overground. Again, where people will tap in, tap out over bike, bus, tram and train in a low fare system. And we're sticking here with the £2 fare cap. I've just announced last week that we will keep that for the whole of 2025. We're going to have to review it in the middle of the year, but we will keep it. That's our intention. Because you've got to, in my view, make public transport a compelling offer. You can't, if Uber is competitive with public transport, you've got a very big problem. So we were the first to propose a £2 fare cap, and we're keeping it. And that will then go forward to bringing in rail. And the reason why the rail gets dead interesting for us is because we have 8 rail lines that we want to bring in. If they were to devolve the stations to us as well, we would then build those new homes for 20-something, 30-somethings around on top of those stations in the towns of GM that really need to sort of have a lift. But then you're connecting people who are going to come to our city to work in the amazing jobs that we've got, but then live in those affordable outlying areas to be able to then have a standard of living that they can't simply have in London. So this is our vision in terms of how it's building out. Design for planet, I think, means building for public transport and reimagining existing towns with existing public transport infrastructure. The broad last point I was asked to address was, how we get green innovation to benefit communities and businesses. Well, the big answer to this is we are still firmly committed to be a net zero city region by 2038. It's been hard in recent times to kind of stick to that vision, with particularly the kind of changing public and political debate about the net zero agenda. But we're sticking to it because it does go back to what Martin was saying at the start. This has been a city of disruption through its history. And it's always been not just industrial disruption, it's been very good at that over the years, but it's social disruption as well, trying to change the way things are done for the betterment of the people. That is absolutely in the DNA of Manchester. And the way we see it is you don't actually get progress if it's only economic progress or industrial progress without the social progress going with it. And we see the drive to a net zero city as the catalyst to changing things for our economy, but for our people as well. If the UK is to hit 2050, somewhere has to go out much faster. Prove the new technology and the new concepts, build the skills base, show how it can be done, and then it makes it more likely that others will achieve 2050 if somewhere or a few places have gone out early. And we are absolutely sticking with that. We believe our industrial base will be set up for the future if we go faster. We will capture new investment here that may go elsewhere if we don't do it. We are bringing through a green hydrogen plant in the next year, 18 months, in the Carrington area. We do have a major plan for the retrofitting of homes across Greater Manchester. We have big plans for the green economy. What you want to get to is a modern economy by 2038, but here's the really critical bit: good homes for people. Because in the retrofitting process, you've improved those homes as well, and you've lifted the standard of them. Good jobs for people who can do that retrofitting, but all working in the new industries as well. Good transport for people. As I say, a zero emissions system at street level with low fares. And then better communities for people. So these things, it's not a given actually that net zero will be a drive to a more equal society. If it's done in the wrong way, by hitting everybody just with taxes and bans, you could actually have a more politically polarized society at the end of it. The trick is, can you get there and achieve the opposite, a more equal, more contented society where people have better homes, better transport, better jobs, and then you've actually made the place more equal as well. That is the thing that you've got to hold out that is achievable. And we still are holding out that it's achievable. And on this morning particularly, when what's just happened in the United States, where that kind of argument against net zero will get louder, get stronger, and it will happen here as well, you can be absolutely certain when you leave this place, that we won't be deflected one iota from what we are trying to do. We are on a clear path towards a greener city region. You could say the UK's leading green city region. We will achieve that goal. We can see what is working to improve our communities, improve our transport. We can see that it's bringing new investment. The more that we do put quality green spaces in the heart of our new regeneration, the more attractive we are making this place as a place to live. So we believe the Greater Manchester Way is the right way to go. We are designing for planet, and there will be no flinching from it whatsoever from our point of view. But we hope, working with others around the country, that this can be the template to get us out of this sort of difficult, dark time in which we've lived, very polarized time. The key for me, finally, is think always about taking the public with us on this journey. The danger is it can sometimes sound like well-to-do people are lecturing people who don't have the wherewithal to be part of the green revolution. So that's the key, isn't it? Make people's jobs better through this. Make their transport cheaper through this. Make their home a place that enhances their health and the health of their children through this. And cheaper to run, actually, because the bills are lower with a better, more insulated home. That is where this is. And then you end up with a better, stronger, more equal society at the end of it by designing for planet. So those are the kind of thoughts of Greater Manchester. Only 4 minutes over my allotted time, but we're really delighted to host this event today with the Design Council. What you're calling for is what we're doing, and I hope today will leave you inspired and ready to keep fighting for what we know is the right future for Greater Manchester and the rest of the country. Thank you very much for listening, everybody.
Well, what a fantastic opening. Thank you to Andy for giving a glimpse of what the ambition is in Manchester, and thank you also to Minnie and Martin for opening today's proceedings. We're going to take a short break now to set up for the next talk, so stay tuned and we'll be back in a second.